Well, the program's still here this morning on ITV. Yes, EDO 2020 retrospect and the Diaspora Factor. Well, we are so privileged to have Dr. Peter Waibi here with us this morning, a legal luminary and one of those that ensured that the success that the People's Democratic Party is celebrating today was also meant even in the UK. Well, Dr. Peter Waibi is the coordinator of Global Committee of Concerned Friends for Obaseki, located in the UK. And of course, we also have that in the US and other nations of the world. So you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a delight to have you. It's a delight. Now, I understand that you actually flew in to cast a single vote for Governor Godwin Obaseki. Now, you tell us, for Nigerians in diaspora, particularly Edolites in diaspora, we saw the way you guys were so concerned. We saw footage on the social media, the way people were canvassing for the governor, and also making sure that he wins the election. Now, you tell us, what was the mindset? Why were you guys so committed?
Yes, you see, can I just tell you thank you for that elaborate introduction, and of course your concern about those of us in the diaspora. But for those of us in the diaspora, you see, we have an excessive belief and concern about the runnings of government in Nigeria.
Okay.
Particularly in the states like Edo State, where the best governor in the whole of Nigeria is operational. And so Benin's all over the world, Edo's all over the world, felt it necessary to come together to make sure that Obaseki had to come back to continue the good work he's doing. Because, you see, if you look at the situations overseas, you vote wherever you are as a citizen of that place. You vote. As a citizen of America, a citizen of Britain, where if you are in Nigeria, you're able to cast your vote electronically. And that is not possible with Nigeria. And therefore, we had to make a lot of significant contribution to sustain our beliefs. And our beliefs was very, very visual. We had to work our fingers thin, and as a matter of fact, dried our salivas in making all the noise. We communicated with a lot of people. We communicated with presidents of countries. We communicated with prime ministers of countries. We drummed up a lot of awareness, and we forced the international communities to focus basically on the happenings of Edo State. That was to preempt any possible interference by way of negative interference with the result of the election. And if you see what happened in London, for instance, there's one very active personality in London. He's also a doctor, Dr. Elvis Omorogbe. He made sure that we went to the Nigerian embassy and drummed up the need for a fair and equitable election in Edo State. And in response to such our agitations and correspondence with prime ministers and presidents, the American government issued a statement a few days before then, warning INEC and warning the Nigerian government that any malpractices would result to cancellation of visas. And Britain went further to say that, as a matter of fact, we seize your assets. So with this type of questionable situations and circumstances given to these operatives in Nigeria, they found it difficult to rig the election. And as a matter of fact, you can trust the President Buhari. He does not dilly-dally when it comes to relations with international communities, because as a president, he is forever overseas also. So they stood by it and made sure that the elections were free and fair.
All right, now you said that you guys were committed to the fact to ensure that the election should be free and fair. But let's look at it straight now. Which one was paramount to you guys? Because down here, a lot of people had the impression that the governor was doing well. And of course, he deserved a second term. Then for you guys over there, you guys were more concerned for a free and fair election. So one would have expected that for a governor that was performing, that would have been more paramount to you guys. So which one was you guys were really committed to?
Yes, you know, first and foremost, let me thank the enormity of the political drive of Edolites in diaspora. They had a lot of zeal because they loved Obaseki and they loved the way he carried on government. You see, it's called a kind of extrapolation And extrapolation means, you know, from the known, you excavate from the known to the unknown. And that means we knew Obaseki. And so you can easily predict the unknown. We also knew the opposition. So we can also predict the unknown. So if we knew Obaseki, we know what it can be tomorrow. If we also knew the opposition, we knew what they can be tomorrow. So if you see a rascalious somebody, a rascal, you don't expect us not to be able to, you know, prophesy properly what that rascal will also be tomorrow. Now, if you see a performing governor like Obaseki, you also know we're able to prophesy what he was going to be tomorrow. So it was an extrapolation. We knew him, so we also wanted him to continue. And I tell you something, the people in the diaspora, they will continue to be part of this electionary process to always make sure there's a sustainable, you know, fair and free elections in the country.
Okay. Now, you see that for the elections, we saw it, and it all came out one of the most attended elections, so to say. In the history of my life, I've not seen where people trooped out to vote and all that. And I understand that some of you came from the UK, from the Canada, from the United States of America, with your permanent voters card to just make sure that you cast a single vote. Now, if you have the opportunity, you know, looking at the inability of Nigerians in diaspora, their inability, you know, to vote. You know, they have interest, but they are there, they cannot vote. What would you want to do?
You see, there's something that the diasporans are always fighting for, and that is freedom of speech and freedom of expression. For instance, in the diaspora, we don't have the fear of DSS, SSS, PCCSS, EFCC, and which we
but they also have their regulating agencies.
Which we always strangulate. Yeah, those regulatory industries do not match. Yeah. They don't match your tone of speech. They don't match your freedom of expression. But here, as I'm in the studio now, if I say things, certain things outside the likes of all the agency here,
if you say things that you cannot verify, by the time I get out of the studio,
I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that's when if you say things you cannot verify.
Trauma, you know, you say that again, please.
I mean, if you say things that you cannot verify, I mean, the DSS won't just come on you when you are doing the right thing, don't you think so?
You see, they can, they do.
No, they won't.
You know, I mean, there are certain things that as you can say freely. And that is one thing we love about Obaseki's government. Obaseki's government is outrageously detesting the operations of gangsters and gangsterism, and the vacuousness of persons who hardly know what they want to do, aspiring to come into governance. Governance is not a joke. Governance is supposed to be for the people. And one thing governance must do is to ensure the continuous growth of the economy of the place. If you see the budget that, for instance, Obaseki was you know, signing in 2018, that budget was about, I think it was less than about 78 billion naira. 78 billion naira. Yeah. You know, and in 2020, that budget was less than 30% by pro-sections. You know, and that was because of the negative effect of the COVID-19.
Yeah.
And so, you see, you need an intellectualism. You need somebody with, you know, economic sense to be able to manage a situation that is almost an emergency situation. And that is why you need men of capacity, you know, men of governance capacity, not just telakawans who are about the whole place, just wanting to be governor, wanting to be chief executive of government without really having a viable constitution or a workable policy. That is the problem that is the problem we didn't want we in the diaspora to continue. As a matter of fact, aside the fact that I know the governor, you know, personally, but every other person in the world and all outside Nigerians, international communities, Edolites, Igbos, Hausas, Yorubas, we had coordination. We have coordinations about the whole place because they love the results that the governor of those states, Obaseki, was giving to the people.
Okay. Now, let's look at one thing that maybe just be on the minds of people, though you have said that it is because of the interest that you have towards good governance in the state. That's the reason why that you guys are so committed. But some people begin to see it in the other way around, that you may probably may have invested your time, your money, trying to bring up cause that we bring Obaseki back. Some people see it as a form of investment. Is that correct?
Yes, sorry, and let me quickly make a correction. The budgetary was, I think, 178 in 2018.
No, we're not talking about the budget now. We are looking at
127 billion.
Yeah.
Now, which is short of 30% of the previous year budget. Now, but what was the question again, please?
Yeah, we're talking about your contributions, as in contributing, making jingles, making programs in diaspora for the governor. Some people see that as a form of an investment, that it is what you intend to gain. Is that correct?
You see, I'm a self-made man.
Yeah.
And when you're in the UK, you really don't have need for monies to be given to you before you do anything which you believe in. And so we are not interested in returns or gratification from government. We use our money. As a matter of fact, I mean, I sponsored a lot of jingles.
Yeah,
I sponsored a lot of programs. I sponsored a lot of write-ups. Writing and meeting the president. I personally met Boris Johnson in England for this reason, and then he gave me the assurance, because as a legal practitioner, we have had 1 or 2 reasons to be at the inner chambers with him in the past. So he gave us assurances, and look at what they did. They immediately issued a correspondence to the Nigerian government to say we are banning the people who took part in rigging in the Kogi state. And that was a fire shot to every other person that was involved in the election in the Edo state. Mm-hmm. You understand?
So you really think that the warning that the U.S. Consul General gave to really stood?
It will stand. You see, when you are dancing alone, you are not too conscious of yourself or your steps you make. But when you are dancing to the audience and you are dancing to the gallery, you are more conscious of making mistakes. Mm. And so when the international community beamed their satellite eyes on Nigeria, as it were, they became conscious and took precautions. They did not want a non-cautious situation. They didn't want a situation where they would be embarrassed.
Okay, now let's look at the implications of that.
And you saw the efficacious results. I mean, the result came as the people demanded and desired. Mm-hmm. Edo would have combusted into flames. I'm telling you, if the people's will were mashed, you understand, or subvented. No, Edo would have combusted, because...
we don't pray for that now.
No, we don't pray for it. So we thank God that it did not come to that, because when I came at the airport, some journalists interviewed me and said, we are expecting a bloody election. How is it going to be circumvented? And I told them, well, it's too early.
Now they were suspecting, not expecting.
They were suspecting.
Going by some allegations making the rounds.
Yes, yeah. They were suspecting, yes, but at the end of the day, everybody came into town. Not only me, a lot of my friends from the UK, or a lot of these activists.
Yeah.
From the UK, London, Europe, and Germany. They all had Obaseki for governor in all the pocket nations of the world. Obaseki for governor was a movement.
And this is probably the first time that we're having this kind of scenario.
Yeah, this is the first time when the president, the white people, the non-Nigerians were all involved in Edo, and as a matter of fact, all the Nigerians were focused on Edo elections. Mm. You can imagine the amount of governors that came to Edo in support of Obaseki. And even the governor from Kano also came in support of POI,
Ganduje.
So everybody, everybody was in Benin. All the Dino Milaye who were out together the previous night before the elections, and look at what the governor did. Come on, the governor Obaseki is a man of high intellectuality, a man of high capacity, and yet he's very calm. He's so calm. That is the thing. Look at the situation room he set up during the election. You can't beat that. Every unit was being monitored. Every unit was being monitored, and it was being beamed to the rest of the world. How can you, alter such expediency and such sense of diligence, to duty. You cannot.
All right, viewers out there, in case if you just joined us, the program is This Morning on ITV, and we are looking at EDO 2020 in retrospect, the Diaspora Factor, and we are so privileged to have Dr. Peter Waibi here, a legal luminary, and of course the coordinator of Global Committee for Concerned Friends for Governor Godwin Obaseki. I told you that this organization is located in the UK, you have it in the United States of America, in Canada, and other nations of the world. Now, Dr. Peter Waibi, now let's look at this election proper. Now, you see that the world is beginning to applaud Edo State and also applaud, the electorate in the state. Now, what do you think is the implication of this for us as Edolites and perhaps for Nigeria as a nation?
You see, there's an organic link between a man of courageous strength and a man that can be beaten into fear at any time. You will now see that Governor Obaseki is a man of strength, a man of courage, and a man that fights for what he believes in. When this whole thing started and the opposition said that the governor was not giving out, Ghana must go back to a lot of rapscallions.
Well, that was allegation too. We cannot substantiate that the opposition said.
We saw it in the social media.
So let's leave it as allegation.
Well, yes, yes, we saw it in social media. It was an allegation. The opposition leader came up to say that he's not taking care of people that made him come into power. I mean, what does taking care of mean? In Nigeria, the context of taking care of, give me money, Ghana must go. And this governor was not ready to do that. And so he was focused more on infrastructural development, economic growth, employability, maintenance of the structures that were already on ground, that were already dilapidating. So the guy came up from such an angle, and everybody applauded him. It's not easy to be a man of strength and determination and stand firm in what you believe in, even in the face of danger, even in the face of holocauste dangers, even in the face of your life. And then the whole saga started, the whole battle started. There was no reason for the battle. Everybody was asking, what is the problem? The opposition had no answer to what was the problem. All they wanted to, no, Obaseki cannot come back for
but don't you think the opposition was also entitled to their rights? I mean, for the sake of objectivity.
Yeah, the opposition were entitled to their rights, but they should be entitled to fair rights. You see, that is why this one chief, Honorable Charles Idahosa, who came up with the slogan of Edo no be Lagos, because the opposition was trying to pattern their exigencies in the Lagos style of how one of the leaders in Lagos threw away.
Well, that's also an allegation.
No, it's not an allegation.
People started alleging, started looking at it that way.
Lagos was thrown away, and he could not come in for a second term.
But the governor was not thrown away. There was a primary election that was done, so he did not win that primary election. So let's say it that way. Don't you think so?
But also, was there not a committee that was sent to screen our governorship aspirants in Edo State?
Anyway, let us not jump the issues now.
Fine.
A while ago, I asked about the implication of this success that we
success.
What kind of implication do you think it has for Edo States and perhaps for Nigeria as a nation?
Yes, the success here is that it serves as a precedent to every other pocket nation in Edo States. The governors will now know that it's not by distributing of money that you are returned to power. It's by the effectiveness of governance that you are returned to power. Look at the growth that has been sustained in Edo State. Look at the record of infrastructural development. It's not been so in Edo State. Every nook and cranny of Edo State is flooded with development, and everybody sees it. It's never on the ground. They are on the surface. You see, so when I even came into Benin, I've not been to Benin for a little while, but when I came into Benin, I said, wow, am I in New York? Or am I in Dubai? Yeah. And I said, wow, I mean, Governor Obaseki is doing the thing, and he's not noisy. The man is so calm. And so when the opposition tried to embarrass him or frustrate him, Honorable Charles Idahosa jumped into the ring and said, listen, Obaseki, come down, you're a gentleman. We are used to this fight. He has been in politics from birth. His family, they are all politicians. The father was a politician. So he jumped into the ring and silenced the opposition on one-to-one. And today, the Governor Baseki movement recorded success and victory.
Okay.
But we are not expecting anything from government. But there's one thing. If I meet with the governor, we will discuss on these diasporans.
Okay, trying to set agenda.
The effect of diasporans in Edo State, because they are a very powerful sector of the economy in Edo State that has not been properly harnessed. And I tell you the truth about that. There are certain agendas that I will discuss with the governor, you know, and I think when he puts it to play, the diasporans will have a reason to applaud again.
Okay. Now, I still ask the question, the implication. What kind of implication do you think it has on the international scene? What kind of impression do you think that nations...
I don't have a fear at all about implications. One, the governor...
No, what was the implication?
The governor is up to it.
Okay.
You see, the diasporans, after we have fought so much for the governor to win, we must also fight to support him in growing the economy, in growing the infrastructure, in growing the education, in growing the health sector, in growing all the sectors that are necessary for a diaspora to start even coming home. Because, you see, let me tell you something. The people in diaspora are mostly experts. You know, they are brains that have been drained. If you see, most Edolites overseas are professional experts, and they are contributive to the growth of the economy of those countries they are in. That's why they are able
at the expense of the state.
At the expense of the state. So if you come up with a stimulus plan, these same brains will come back and develop your state. They are quite a lot. The governor himself studied in America, and at least he came back. And look at the effect of his postulation. Look at how satisfied and gladdened the hearts of the opposition was when they employed him to manage the economy as a chairman of the economic committee for 8 years. This same governor did not draw a single dime as salary. These are men with magnanimous minds, strong minds. They just wanted loyalism to growth of the state. And so that is the same position, that is the same attitude that we in the diasporans have. Okay. We are interested in the growth of the state.
All right. A while ago,
nobody wants a dilapidated state.
Yeah, certainly. A while ago, you were trying to set agenda, on the foreign scene. You said that you want to advise the governor to see how Nigerians in diaspora can really contribute. Now, let's come back home now. Now, you've been in town for almost like a week and some few days now. You've gone around cities and all that. Now, if you were to set your agenda,
sat down there till the votes were counted, and we followed them everywhere to make sure.
But let's look at it more. If you were to set agenda for the governor, where will you start from? Which of the sectors? Is it education, agriculture, or rural development, infrastructural development? Where will you start from?
You see, at present, right, Edo State is number 6 in terms of GDP in Nigeria, with over $11 billion, right, a year. And of course, the income per capita, I think, is about 3,600 something, If Edo State is number 6 among 36, only beaten by Lagos and the likes of, so River State. And so what do you think, what other agenda do you want to set for the governor? The governor should be encouraged, supported, to continue the work he's been doing. Those are already agendas that are set. We will continue with them. And the efficacy of such things is that the desired results will become achievable. There should be no derailing. Governor has an agenda right from the day he came into office for the next 8 years. If we ask the governor to stay for the rest of his life, Benin will continue to develop. Edo State will continue to develop. Don't forget, and this governor is declined. He is not a clannish governor. He has a concentration in all the 5 dialectical zones of Edo State, which is the Akoko Edo, the Owan, Fema, Esan, and even Edo itself. You see, these are geopolitical zones that he has spread his tentacles of development towards. And the people are busy clapping. You wake up every morning, they are blowing the horn of praise of the governor. They call him wake and see. That is, you go to sleep. The next thing, in the morning, caterpillars wake you up. These are developmental caterpillars, not caterpillars that are being run by rascals, you know, beating people on the street, what they used to call the opposition police, you know, that drove away even stopover investment in Edo State. Because the people that everybody passes through Benin as a kind of a hub. But then with the opposition police harassing motorists left, right, and center,
well, the issue of insecurity,
depreciated and dilapidated and run by rascalious, mindless hooligans.
Yeah, Dr. Waibi, now the issue of insecurity in the States and perhaps in Nigeria in general is what I know it's a major source of concern to you guys in the diaspora. Yes. So you also want to talk about that? Yes,
you see, everything lies in good governance. And of course, you see, with good governance, don't forget, I don't want to go into specifications of certain things. In the previous opposition government, there were men of questionability in terms of capacity to run their home, not talk of run an establishment. They were put in government. You know, housing, recovery of property. These were men that, you know, have no capacity, have no knowledge, and have no dedication or commitment to be able to effectively deliver the responsibility that was betrothed upon them. And why do you betroth this responsibility upon them? Because along the line they were able to steal election boxes. Is that what you will say it's allegation again? But we knew people came on air and said, oh, we were stealing election boxes before. You know, boastfully. It's because the governor is a very quiet person, not necessarily quiet. The governor is an extremely educated person.
Yeah, we're talking about the area of security now.
Yes, this is the security. Yeah. These same people are what is creating insecurity in the state. If you have, look at, for instance, you know, let me applaud also the Oba of Benin, who came in support of the governor in stopping gangsterism where you have landowners being threatened whenever they wanted to develop their lands. You find people coming every other minute to collect largesse from them, threatening them, and therefore violence will break out if you are not able to pay up with these innocuous demands. Very assiduous. And then of course, the Oba of Benin came in cooperation, Oba Atokbae.
They said, that's what we always say.
Came in cooperation with the governor and stopped those things. And governor went furthermore to make sure that when you are getting a certificate of occupancy, it will not be more than a couple of months, with less than 50,000 naira. It's not a, you see, these are certain things that you cannot, if we want to go on a government's achievement or governor's achievement, we will be here all day.
All right, I really want to especially thank you, Dr. Peter Waibi, for finding time to come on the program today, this morning on ITV. I really want to thank you. And I also you know, plead with you that the support that you guys give to the government in diaspora, it shouldn't be something that you know, is just for this election alone. It should be something that should continue. Will you accept that from me?
Yes, it will be continuous. It will be perpetrated. We will show presence. We will show support, financially and physically, spiritually. As a matter of fact, most of the churches were praying for the governor. all the churches across board, Orthodox churches, Orthodox churches,
Gabon churches. The diaspora.
Yes. Prayers is all that we believe in. In American money, in American dollar is there. In God we trust. It's only God that can do these things, because when the devil sets his hand on certain things, you start to malfunction. You know, for the opposition that came from nowhere and came into the apex of ambition in life, you would wonder why.
No, the opposition has rights to their own ambition too. Just is an open thing, so I don't think...
I know, but you see, when you have a negative ambition, you know, when you have an ambition that is negative, an ambition that have no reason of prosperity, an ambition that is derailed from the start, in law they call it ab initio, you know, such ambitions are not supposed to be driven into reality. Such ambitions should be made that no.
All right, Dr. Peter Waibi, thank you so much for joining us on the program today, this morning on ITV. We'll take a short pause now so that all that segment can come your way. Doctor, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.